Hello, 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 my fellow noobs. How have you all been? I am Rory, aka the Perpetual Noob, and welcome to a very special episode. It is the finale to our blind run through Bloodborne's DLC, The Old Hunters, and my god, it has been so long. I hope you've all been having grand adventures and learning tons in whatever games you've been playing lately. This episode is different from any other episode, or video for that matter, on this channel. This is partially why it's been so long since I've posted content. I didn't want to leave our Old Hunter's Blind Run unfinished, so the Orphan of Kos and certainly Laurence pretty much took over my entire life. And then there was another separate side project, and then there was just real life in general, and also tying up all of the loose ends of the DLC. That's right, this episode actually has 3 acts. The first act is the Orphan of Kos fight. The second act is the long awaited Laurence fight. And the third act chronicles all of the things we missed in the blind run. And like I said, our first act takes us to this dreary coast to fight the one and only Orphan of Kos. I did end up breaking blood level 100 and putting my vitality at 40. I am slightly ashamed that I felt I needed to increase my stats and go away from blood level 100, but the extra vitality really did help, and I was having trouble finding any cooperators. And I'd heard that finding co-op people got better the closer you got to level 120. Of course, in the end that didn't really matter, but I wanted to give it a shot anyways. I will say the Orphan of Kos was still a very tough boss fight, certainly not easy by any stretch. Lady Maria is a much easier fight. But I do hope you all enjoy this Orphan of Kos fight. Ooh, cliffhanger ending, I love it! But seriously, that shadowy figure will come back later. Regarding the incredible fight, though, I'm very happy Orphan of Kos can be parried and backstabbed. This fight would have been insane without those options. But 8 hours of practice did mean we learned the timing of nearly every attack for parries or backstabs. And now we come to what I think is the main event. Laurence, the first vicar. This boss pushed me to the limit of my patience. I had to even back off and go dungeon delving to get my stake driver a full set of max physical damage blood gems. Well, okay, maybe I actually didn't need to do that. I probably still could have beaten Laurence without that, but I was so sick and tired of smashing my face into the wall that I said, you know what? I'm going to go do this. I'm going to get these, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to kick your ass. So that's what I did. And that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. All told, though, with the 15 plus hours of practice fights against Laurence, finding Valter in the Forbidden Woods and joining the League of Hunters just so I could use him as a summon, because when I was co-oping with somebody else and trying to help them, I saw that they had summoned him, and it made me say, wait, you can summon him for this fight? I should probably go deal with this guy then. And then he didn't really help much. We got close a couple of times, but it was just not working. So I had to let him go. You know, layoffs, reorganizations, that's how these things happen. And then all the time with farming those blood gems, preparing for this particular fight with Laurence took about 30 hours. And I can safely say that that is the most time I've spent on any one particular boss in this entire game, and actually in the entirety of the Souls/Bloodborne game series. So please enjoy the fruits of 30-ish hours of work. Here is Laurence, the first vicar.
In flames of death, eternal rain, we ride towards the fight. When the darkness is falling down, in the times of tough alright, the sound of evil laughter falls around the world tonight. Fighting high, fighting on for the steel, through the wastelands evermore. The scared souls will feel the hell that's wasted on the shores. On the blackest flames in hell's domain, we watch the lands they go. In fire with pain and once again
Oh man, I still get chills watching that fight. Oh, I'm so glad that's all over. Because that fight was intense. The work put into it was intense. I'm just glad it's done. I'm glad that in reality we never have to fight Laurence the First Vicar ever again if we don't want to. So happy about that. But now we've come to our third and final act, discussing all of the things we missed the first time around in our blind run. You know what that Laurence victory got us? Besides a trophy and a wonderful sense of accomplishment, it got us this, the Beast's Embrace rune. The Beast's Embrace. After repeated experiments in controlling the scourge of beasts, the gentle Embrace rune was discovered. When its implementation failed, the Embrace became a forbidden rune, but this knowledge became a foundation of the healing church. Those who swear this oath take on a ghastly form and enjoy accentuated transformation effects, especially while wielding a beast weapon. So it sounds like those who founded the healing church originally thought to instead control beasts rather than kill them. Which makes sense. Beasts are powerful, and if controlled, a powerful weapon for whomever controls them. But, as we've learned, you can't control beasts. Though that didn't seem to stop Laurence from trying to control his inner beast with, clearly, I'd say, disastrous results. But when you do equip this, you look like this. Don't you just look so sexy with all that hair and fur everywhere? Rawr! Something my friend and I found while co-oping was that there's actually another way to reach the 4th floor of the research hall without any stairs. Just hop off the elevator that goes from the 3rd to the 5th floor, and you'll be right there. Sadly, there's nothing on the other elevator or above the elevator itself, but I thought it was kind of neat to find this. This next item, the milkweed rune, was discovered through both a little bit of co-op with my friend and the wiki.
I need it.
So you all remember Saint Adeline, yeah?
Please bring me brain fluid.
She's the one who asked for brain fluid, then you give her some, and then she asked for more brain fluid, and during the blind run I was completely flummoxed. I had no idea what to do with that. Turns out, more brain fluid can actually be found in this enlarged head here. And after you give her the second brain fluid, Saint Adeline will give you the balcony key. Now, we're going to come back to that in a little bit. We're going to focus on the milkweed rune here.
I can hear it. Yes. The sound that guides me.
So, to continue the quest for the milkweed rune, you've got to wait a little bit. It's actually like real time, not just, oh, let me just stand around for a moment. There are boss triggers you could do instead where you fight a particular boss. That can drive the quest a little bit further as well. Because we were already well beyond all of the bosses at this point,
do not abandon me.
We had to wait for some time. And it turns out to be something like 10 plus minutes before you should go back to the research hall, and then you'll find her like this. Saint Adeline appears to be in much better spirits despite her new condition, and again she wants more brain fluid.
One last time. Will you fetch brain fluid just one last time? The murky, mushy fluid that will make me whole. The sticky sound whispers to me, so very close, right into my ear. My head, just a head, that's all there is. I need my baptism. Please, I beg of you. I want to be something. Please give me brain fluid. The sticky sound whispers I need my baptism. Or perhaps I'm already brimming over.
Though, the weird thing is, the only way to get it is to take it from her. But she doesn't seem to mind.
Please give
She
me
bounces right
brain
back.
Fluid.
Well, I mean,
The sticky
she bounces back from
sound
that.
whispers I need my baptism. Or perhaps I'm already brimming over.
But once you give her the third brain fluid,
I see a shape. My guide, I see your voice. Clearly as it bends and bleeds. My own revelation. Just for me. Thank you for everything. Really, I used to be nothing.
not so much. But at least she died happy. And hell, we get the milkweed rune, so win-win, right? And here's the description for the milkweed rune. A carol rune envisioned by Adeline, patient of the research hall. A transcription of the inhuman, sticky whispers that reveal the nature of a celestial attendant. Those who take this oath become a lumen wood that peers towards the sky, feeding phantasms in its luscious bed. Phantasms guide us and lead to further discoveries. So, Saint Adeline seemed to be all about achieving enlightenment. It could be argued that she did after we gave her that third brain fluid. Either way, through her madness or genius, she created this rune that grants us the capability to get onto the path of enlightenment ourselves. Now this is what happens when you actually take this oath and equip this rune. This rune is definitely best for arcane builds and terrifying children. So what is up with that balcony key? Remember this door on the first floor of the research hall which taunted us with its perpetually locked status? Well, the balcony key opens that. And doesn't this area look a little familiar? It's kind of cool that we're in a nightmare version of the Lumen Flower Gardens from the Upper Cathedral Ward in the regular game. And instead of the successful experiment, the Celestial Emissary, we instead find many of the research hall's denizens still chilling here. And also notice they're more powerful. They actually have arcane abilities, rather than the ones we find inside the research hall, which just charge at you or try to punch you or take you down with candlesticks or whatever that particular enemy was carrying. Probably really an IV bag, holder. But it is really interesting to see the nightmare version of this area again that we are used to from the Upper Cathedral Ward. And I mentioned the successful experiment, the Celestial Emissary, because what we find above us in the Lumen Wood Garden is the Living Failure's boss. And the lore, it's speculated, kind of suggests that the Celestial Emissary was the one successful experiment, whereas what we fight in the DLC are the failures instead. And the other awesome thing that we find in the nightmare version of the Lumen Flower Garden is this hunter tool, the Black Sky Eye. Black Sky Eye. Soft eye blessed by a phantasm. They were discovered through Bergenworth's contact with the arcane, but in the end revealed nothing. Deep within the eye lies a vast stretch of dark sky that rumbles with an endless meteor storm. The slightest rub of the tiny orb, and the rock will tumble and soar. My friend, can use this and ended up using it, and we now lovingly call it the Optic Blast, because it does exactly what its description says. It fires a blast of arcane in a straight line with some pretty good range. Now, just like the Upper Cathedral Ward in the main game in the real world, you can shatter this giant window and actually explore the upper portion of this building. Sadly, there really isn't much here. I mean, there is this treasure chest, but there isn't anything too special in it. Really, the coolest part about this entire optional area is that you can actually see it from other portions of the DLC. From essentially the main portion of the DLC, you can still see this area and get an indication that, oh, there is more to explore. And that's something I love about Bloodborne. I love about a lot of the Souls series. I don't think Dark Souls 2 did it so well, but Dark Souls 1 absolutely crushed it with this, and I love it. Remember this guy? Yeah, in the blind run we kind of punched him once, but we never actually attempted to kill him, so I decided to give it a shot and see what would happen. Turns out, nothing! I mean, he falls down, but he just gets back up again. He's like a weeble. I wonder why he's unkillable. There are a couple other nifty things about the Wanderer in the fishing hamlet. One, I learned through the wiki, and that is he is actually called the Fishing Hamlet Priest. Two, we've already learned, you can't kill him. And three, is that if you speak to him while under the effects of the Milkweed Rune, you'll get some new dialogue.
Curse here, curse there. A curse for he and she. White hair. A bottomless curse. A bottomless sea. Source of all greatness. All things that be. Listen for the baneful chants. Weep with them as one in trance. And weep with us. Oh, weep with us.
And then you'll also get this hunter's tool, the Accursed Brew. Skull of a local from the violated fishing village. The inside of the skull was forcibly searched for eyes, as evidenced by innumerable scratches and indentations. No wonder the skull became stewed in curses. They who offer baneful chants, weep with them as one in trance. Honestly, it's a pretty gruesome way to go, and one more reason to thank the diligent efforts of those at Bergenworth. Now, my character can't use this, because I just don't have the arcane for it, but the wiki explains that the way this hunter tool works is actually very similar to the way fireballs worked in Dark Souls. Except, in this case it's an arcane ball. So I'm sure you all remember these fine fellows, and you're also probably wondering, why am I fighting them again? Didn't I swear off of them after several deaths to them? Well, sadly, kind of, when I was co-oping with my friend, we got to the fishing hamlet, and I said to him, hey, this well is wicked dangerous, we probably don't want to go in here, we might as well just skip it. And he said, but we're doing so well killing everything in our way. Let's go into the well and see what we find. A couple of deaths later, he still wanted to go down there. And we were actually successful in killing both monsters. Turns out that if you do not actively seek out the monster on the ceiling and you just deal with the monster on the ground, once you get that monster to a particular point in health, the monster from the ceiling will drop down and join the fight anyways. Fun times when they're both there. But once we had defeated them, he said, look, this one dropped a weapon. And I said, well, I am going to tie up all the loose ends to this DLC. I guess I got to go back in here and kill them myself. Which I'm glad I did. One, because I was able to tie up the loose end for the DLC, and two, because I got probably at least my second favorite, if not my favorite weapon of the entire game, and that weapon is the Rakuyo, a hunter weapon wielded by Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower. A trick sword originated in the same country as the Canehurst Chikage, only this sword feeds not off blood, but instead demands great dexterity. Lady Maria was fond of this aspect of the Rakuyo, as she frowned upon blood blades, despite being a distant relative of the queen. But one day, she abandoned her beloved Rakuyo, casting it into a dark well when she could stomach its presence no longer. Which is interesting that the description for the weapon says that she tossed it because in the boss fight, it's the weapon she's using. It's just modified for a boss fight, which is why she has all those blood abilities. I don't understand why they gave her the Rakuyo in the boss fight and not a Chikage in the boss fight, if the description for the Rakuyo talks of both weapons. But that's what they did. Which is okay by me because I love the Rakuyo and I love its moveset. I think it's incredible. One other piece to Lady Maria that we did not get during the blind run, and I apologize for this, is that once you kill her, the doll actually has an additional line of dialogue for us, where she says, "Good hunter, this may sound strange, but have I somehow changed? Moments ago, from some place, perhaps deep within, I sensed a liberation from heavy shackles. Not that I would know. How passing strange." The idea, and this is all from the wiki, is that the doll actually, well, being Gehrman's creation, is meant to resemble Lady Maria. And in some way with this line of dialogue, it's showing that they were related in some way. Not, familially, but somehow their essences were intertwined. Now, this next item I honestly thought was lost to us forever due to how we handled the assassin Braider in our blind run. He was the guy with the crazy antlers for his helm, and he was the one sitting in that cell underneath the church, and he was all about, "Do you hear the bell?" And we originally were like, "No," and then eventually we ran into Simon, and we got the bow blade from him, and then we were able to unlock Braider from his cell, and then we fought that NPC assassin who was actually Braider, somehow projecting himself out of the cell. Anyway, this next item is the Beast Hide Garb. And crazy enough, we were actually still good and able to get this last piece of the set, because the rest of it was the bloodied hands and the bloodied leggings. So now, if you actually come to this location before killing Braider, his red phantom would have appeared, and you get to fight him, and then it would have dropped the Beast Hide Garb. Instead, because of the way we handled it in the blind run, the item is actually just laying around for us to grab, which is honestly pretty awesome, because when I went to the wiki and researched this and learned of the Beast Hide Garb, I went straight to my character and said, "Do I have this? Do I have this chest piece?" "No, I do not." And the wiki's like, "This is how you get it." And I just thought, damn it, I'm trying to tie up all the loose ends, and that's an item I can't get. No. But turns out I was wrong, which was great. So the Beast Hide Garb is the bloodied hide of a horrible cleric beast pulled over the back. Without the attached beast hide, this foreign garb wouldn't raise anyone's eyebrows. Braider donned a compatriot's beastly scalp and hide while still moist with blood. Most of the bloodstains on this hide were from that day. So the description is very similar to the other pieces of Braider's set, just this one with the added bonus of nobody would have looked twice if it didn't actually have a cleric beast's hide on its back. Not really much new information there, but check us out in full Braider gear. That's right, 336 beasthood, and that's without any particular runes. Definitely impressive and good for a beastly, get it, glass cannon build. And so we've come to the last loose end of the Old Hunters DLC to tie up. I learned this one from the wiki, where it listed under the bosses a sweet child of the Orphan of Kos. And I said, damn, there's one more fight. Alright, let's go do it. So I headed to the coast and found the shadowy figure still standing there. And turns out this quote-unquote boss just needed a swift punch to the face. And that's how you slay the nightmare that was the Orphan of Kos. And that is what starts the cutscene, and that is how the Old Hunters DLC ends.
Sweet child of Kos, returned to the ocean. A bottomless curse, a bottomless sea, accepting of all that there is and can be.
But I do find this very interesting, that the Orphan of Kos returns to the ocean, and the Orphan of Kos was born of the Great One, Kos, or some say Cosm, according to Mikolash, and Cosm being a shortened form of Cosmos, or the sky, and just about everything in this game is discussed looking to the sky, looking to the cosmos for the Great Ones. But turns out that one of the Great Ones is apparently in the sea. I thought that was pretty interesting. Thank you so much, my dear and fellow noobs, for hanging out with me today. I really hope you enjoyed the finale of our blind run through Bloodborne's Old Hunters DLC. Honestly, I had a blast putting this episode together. I know it's very different from what we've been doing in the past, but I think it was a lot of fun. I think the boss fights were a bit more entertaining this way. I think it was great going through all of the loose ends that we had missed in the DLC. I loved doing that. I'm glad I did it. Thank you to those of you who suggested I do that in the first place. It was something I was thinking of doing, and it was fun. And that kind of leads into something else that I think I'm going to talk about right here, right now, is that this sort of video is kind of where I want to take future videos for this channel. You know, they may not be as in-depth as this, or as ornate, or, you know, covering so many different topics. You know, covering 2 bosses, covering several loose ends. But as Dark Souls 3 approaches, I'm really thinking about doing something more like this, where I will be going over enemy strategies, boss strategies, weapon move sets, item locations, and I'll just have videos dedicated to those. In the case of enemies and bosses, still highlighting the trial and error to get to this point of learning how to defeat these bosses. Because again, I do want us to still experience these games together. I want us to have that shared experience, but I do also want to provide a little bit more, and I want to show how to beat these enemies, how to beat these bosses, how to get these items. I do want to show those as well and kind of have that be more the focus, so we can all learn together. I can show you what I have learned, and then we can all learn it together. Anyway, that is what I'm thinking of doing for the future of this channel. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I really appreciate hearing from you. I love having dialogue with all of you. Thank you again for hanging out with me today. I am the Perpetual Noob, and I can't wait to hang out with you next time.